Let's go. What is going on, everybody? We are live. Gary and I were just talking about his awesome shirt. Gary, you want to show him the shirt?
Beast.
21 million.
Beast.
Does
it read correctly, or are you seeing it? It should say infinity divided by.
Infinity divided by 21 million.
I had to mirror I'm learning how to use all my equipment here, bro.
What did you buy those on your own, or did someone gift them to you?
No, I bought them.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. I needed a black t-shirt that I could wear under a blazer, and I just thought this was nice.
Yeah. No, that's pretty dope. So today, what are we talking about, Gary? We're going to talk about Bitcoin officially becoming a part of the Republican platform. What Trump did is Trump released essentially a 20 to 22 bullet pointed statement, which they do before every election cycle, essentially saying, hey, everybody, here's our goal, here's our mission, here's what we're going to talk about. And it's not just for people like us to go and look and say, hey, what's the official platform? It tells the rest of Congress and the rest of the Senate, hey, here's the talking points that you guys are going to stick to. And anything not on that list, you're going to avoid. Right. So I want to go through that with you today because I think that's actually some of the biggest news. The fact that it's officially a part of a platform and being mentioned as a strategy from what could be the next president of the United States. But we'll go through, I think, just piece by piece, all 20 points. I'll get your feedback on some of those. That's what I'd like to do today.
Yeah, sounds good. You're going to post those? You're going to put them up in the so other people can see them? I have not seen them yet. So
no, we'll do it fresh. So first off, here we go. So one, roadmap to make America great again. RNC announces 2024 GOP platform. And so we're going to probably go over what they have in this article, which you can kind of see them right here and go step by step. But if we want to look at the official document, it formally looks like this, right? It's a PDF, it's 16 pages, and that's where you kind of get into the nitty gritty because you'll notice in these points, in all 20 of these points, crypto is not mentioned because crypto is a sub point of making the economy great again, right? Which I think is pretty awesome. And all you do is Control F. And you can see that right there, championing innovation. And crypto is the first thing. Crypto is above artificial intelligence, and it's above expanding freedom, prosperity, and safety in space. Crypto's listed first. How cool is that? I think that's pretty badass.
No, I agree. I totally agree. Why don't we just start at the top? And I think that, I think the Bitcoin community has to appreciate that this subject for crypto is going to be a very small little item in the political field. There's so many other items that are big. Just to get any mention, I think is really cool. So I wouldn't expect, 8,000 pages on crypto to win the election, right? I think it's going to be a small talking point. It's a much bigger talking point than it was 4 years ago. So that's a big win.
Yeah.
But if you're running to, rebuild this country, it's not going to be your top talking point, right? Number one is going to be your top talking point.
Correct. Which number one is seal the border and stop the migrant invasion. How's that for a first talking point? Which, by the way,
do you know anyone that disagrees with this?
Not a single person. And polling shows that is the number one priority for the majority of voters. Would you agree with that? Do you think this is probably the first thing you start out with?
Well, I think it's something that has to get addressed, whether it's the first, second, or third item. It has to get addressed. You can't keep if we decide that we don't have a big enough population and we're not recreating, we're not producing more humans, then maybe we have a reason to bring in immigrants. But we ought to have a reason. It ought to be proactively making a decision what's good for the country. That's not what we're doing. We're reacting and just letting people come in the border. It makes no sense to me. It's unfair to the people that went through the process properly.
Yeah. Do you know how many legal immigrants I've talked to who have discussed with their lawyers, hey, should I just cross the border? Would that be quicker? Because people I know trying to do it legally will say, Sam, it takes a year and then a year and up to 3 years to get officially approved. So they have had serious conversations like, hey, should I just go and cross illegally? And then can I get here faster that way? And the lawyers often tell them no, but the fact that they even have to ask that question, I think, is very telling of the current situation.
Yeah. Now, this next one I think is going to be very controversial, but I do
Kind of
think
goes with number one.
Yeah. It does go with number one. But I think if you do number one and you don't handle number two, it's a problem.
Carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. So what does that tell you that the first 2 points of Trump's platform and the Republican platform have to do with immigration? You think obviously that's a pretty big deal when not only your number one, but your number two talking point have to deal with the same topic, no?
Oh, totally, buddy. I mean, you can't imagine General Electric or General Motors just allowing 10% of their staff to come in with no credentials. Think about it that way. Don't think about it as a country. Think about it as there's just a new ruling in America, and anybody that lives within 100 miles of General Electric gets to go work there. Or you just show up in the building one day and now you're on the payroll. I mean,
Yeah.
like, okay, why don't I just walk across the street and walk into my neighbor's house and say, hey, by the way, I'm eating here tonight. I'm squatting.
You can do that in New York and California, and then you get squatters' rights and you can kick out the homeowner.
Exactly.
Have you seen that?
So this has to get confronted. I mean, not to confront these two issues is saying that we have a leader who's just not willing to confront a major issue. At least address it. Now, I might call number two something different. I actually like that he's being so direct about it, but you could also carry out the largest illegal immigration program. Okay, you could go through this and go, okay, we're going to spend $1 billion and we're going to figure out who the legal people are and the illegals are, and we're going to keep the legals and we're going to make them legal. Just do a Operation Warp Speed. Yeah, fucking did it with needles, dude. You can do it with immigration. Okay? Stick a tracker in these people and go, look, we're going to track your ass for 5 years. If you do anything illegal, poof, bye. But you need governors. You need 50 governors all on the same page. We need a leader, dude.
Yeah.
We need a leader that can make a decision. So not a committee decision either. We need a leader that can make a decision and put up with the shit, the backwash that comes with it from the people that don't agree. And there's going to be people that don't agree. Okay. Like I've had bosses before. I was instructed to follow the leader. And I could either follow the leader with a big smile on my face and execute, or I could go work somewhere else. I think we're getting down to that point, dude. And my leader, the leader I want to vote for and I will support financially, is a guy that can make a decision, make a clear decision, clear policies like this, and you either get on board or you don't get on board.
It's kind of like when people are talking about sometimes bad regulation is better than no regulation because you at least know what's on the books and how to operate, as opposed to being in this uncertainty, which is far worse, right?
Yeah, at least I can counter. At least I can counter bad regulation. Right? I can go back to the courts and go, "This is bad. It's wrong."
Yeah. Point number 3: end inflation and make America affordable again. Do you think he has the ability to do that?
Probably not. I don't think a president. One president of one country that's 5% of the world's population can control inflation. No, I don't think that's true.
I know before the call you told me Jerome Powell's getting roasted right now. You think he's being roasted over inflation? Would you guess?
Well, the people that are roasting him are idiots. Elizabeth Warren never made a legal dollar in her life. She doesn't even know what her DNA is made of. I'm not a native Indian, okay? My family was American, and they grew up in Italy and Sicily. But, and I don't even know what it matters. If I was running for a position, do you care what my DNA is? So, I mean, this lady's an idiot. If she would lie over something like that and then get caught, it's just so dumb. Look, I don't think Trump needs to deal with inflation. I think technology is going to deal with inflation. And if we stop, if this is what he means, and he could mean this, if we stop messing with the supply chains around the world, interfering with them, I don't think we'll have inflation, except for every government on the planet that has the capacity to print their own currency will print in massive volumes in the next 3 years. They will print and print and print and print money, produce the morphine for this 100-year-old debt addict. You have to produce more morphine for the patient to even behave somewhat normal. And he either gets off the morphine and suffers. Okay, there's no president's going to get elected by suffering through a total addictive process. It's going to take years. It'll end up in a depression. Nobody's going to do it, dude. So they're going to print money. They don't even need to lower interest rates. All they need to do is print. They're probably going to lower interest rates and print.
You said something that I don't know if I've heard before. You said technology can deal with inflation. What do you mean by that? And do you have any examples? Because I find that statement actually very fascinating. And I do not hear that often at all. So can you expand on that actually?
Yeah, well, the concept is if you leave things alone, everything will go down to the cost of near zero. Right? Like energy is a very good example. Energy, when I started in 1981, natural gas was priced somewhere between $3.50 and $8. It's $2 now, man. 25 years later, okay? Now, when did technology really advance in the fossil fuel industry? You're a little out of focus, by the way. They did that when oil prices went from $100 to $30. So prices collapsed. What do people do? People that study how to drill holes in the ground, guess what they know how to do, dude? Drill holes in the ground. They have there's nothing about it needs to make a margin. When the prices fell, the guys that were drilling holes in the ground should have just stopped drilling because the math didn't work. What did they do? They got smart about how they drilled. And then they got even smarter and smarter. Then they figured out, oh shit, we only need one drilling rig. Like drilling rig statistics today in energy, it's like it's a non-stat. Who cares? Like one drilling rig can now produce 12 wells. It used to be one pad, one well, straight down, vertical. Now it's straight down, vertical, and horizontal. Fill it up with frac fluids and pressure and produce more energy today than you had yesterday simply by putting money into that black hole. Pressure. I'm buying music. I have 50,000 songs on my iPhone, dude. I spend $10 a month. I have videos so technology. I mean, look at what we do from my home alone. I mean, I'm running 2 companies from my home, dude.
Yeah. Okay.
So like we're doing a quasi CNN Fox News studio right here with, okay, your video isn't great, but mine's pretty good. And, for what we put into it, the quality, return on investment, the quality that we have and the number of viewers, I think risk adjusted is a better investment than what CNN did.
So is another way to say technology could deal with inflation? Do you really mean like deregulation?
No, I mean, technology is going to drive prices down and it will create a lot of competition and it will fuck up the regulatory oligopolistic scenario that's been set up. See, the regulators are supporting monopolies now. We have become a monopoly world, dude. This is big is better. And the governments are supporting big is better. They can't possibly control 52 million merchants, but they can have a relationship with Amazon, Facebook, X,
Yeah.
LinkedIn. It's just, it's so much easier to have a relationship with 10 than 10 million. And that's why the governments will support these big players. And that is exactly what's happening. Look at Boeing got another fine. Okay. Now they're going to go check out another 3,500 planes. How many fines does Boeing get? And how many fucking airplanes have to fall out the air before they're just stopped? You can't fly anymore. Okay. Like Apple gets a DOJ. XYZ gets an FTC. Billy Bob gets an SEC. And they continue to operate and get larger, dude. These are monster companies. They're paying billion-dollar penalties. So for me, it's very, very concerning being a small player or a medium-sized player. How do medium-sized players work? Well, they bring in all of this new technology. That's how they work. And the legacies guy is going to be holding on really tight to those big fat margins of yesteryear. And I do mean yesteryear. And they won't cannibalize their own business. They won't be proactive. They have quarterly earnings they have to hit or they get ripped into shreds. And most of these companies' boards are 3 million years old. I mean, they like literally will say, we have 3 million years of experience in payments. Well, who cares? You have 12 days of experience in digital, you know, and the world is changing. So let's get back to that list because it's 22 items and we're through list number 3, but I don't think he really needs to deal with inflation. Wade, thanks so much,
Wade. Yeah, Wade just gave us $2. Boeing runs the DOD and can't even be suspended. Yeah, well, welcome to the military industrial complex. But we were just talking about energy, so number 4 is up your alley. Make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far.
It's right there. It's right there at our fingertips for us. We got Canada sitting right on top of us. We have the energy.
Are we our only limiting factor when it comes to becoming the dominant energy producer?
See, that's the other thing. I wouldn't use the word dominant. I don't know who wrote this, but
what would you use?
America is the densest, richest, most cost-effective energy source in the world. See, I don't need to be dominant. Dominant suggests that you can control everything. We got to get away from this control stuff. What we need to do is say we are a competitor on a global scale the world's never seen. Our prices are cheaper, our volumes are higher, and we're the most efficient. And if that includes Bitcoin or Schmittcoin or, you know, carbon sequestration or nuclear power plants or doing something different, America is on the cutting edge. That's the message for energy. For energy capitalization and monetization, we are leading cutting edge for the future of the world. I think that's dominant. You're not going to dominate. We're 250 million people, dude. 5% of the fucking population. We chew up 40% of all the energy on the planet. I mean, it's no 25% of all the energy, while 40% of the world still cooks on wood, dude. We're so confused.
I didn't realize that. That's true. 40% of the world cooks on wood.
Dude, 40% of the world's population walked this morning while you drove your fancy car to my house. They walked at 5 a.m. in the morning just to go to the river to get some water. Then they came back an hour later, okay, put it on the wood stove and cleaned it. Now, 11 a.m. in the morning, they're getting around to, you know, starting the school cycle for their kid. I mean, these people are just surviving, dude. Like, you don't have a job if you don't have any water. You don't have a school if you don't have water. So yeah, like even if it was 20%, it's 2 billion people, dude.
Yeah,
we are like, you know, my AC went out on the second floor and we start panicking.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
Okay? It's not even about anybody living up there. I'm like, fuck, I got to fix that real quick.
Yeah.
So And I'll tell you something, okay? I think our energy, well, that's a different conversation, but we pay too little for energy in America. Way too little. Let's go to the fifth one.
Yeah. 5, stop outsourcing and turn the United States into a manufacturing hub. Is that what it says? Let's see. Manufacturing superpower.
Yeah, I love this one. This for me would have been, I haven't read the other 20, but this for me would have been on the top list. Stop outsourcing.
It made the top 5.
This is a national security issue. It's a keep America great issue. It's I'm going to say it again, a national security issue. Okay, like why we would not want to produce everything. I am okay paying a premium. Okay, I am not okay paying a premium when planes start falling out of the air or we can't even get our computers to work because we bought so much shit from our enemy. Okay, so we went through 30 years. We're going to have to pay for the mistake we made. We went through 30 years of outsourcing everything to China and Vietnam and any sweatshop that would do anything, any work for us, India. Okay, we want it a little bit like we've outsourced these wars. We're happy to send money and weapons to Ukraine as long as they put their boys and their girls on the main line and they lose their blood. We lose no blood. We just lose our weapons and our money. That's outsourcing. Now, my position would be if I go to war, I'm sending my own peeps. Okay, let's see how the voters like it when we have to send our own peeps. We would not be in the Ukraine today. If we were required to send our own peoples, and if we're good enough to send our own money, fucking send. If it's big enough to send money and tanks for, send my kids, dude. Let me tell you something. I will not send my kids to the Ukraine war. No chance. You won't do it. We'll have a major revolt from most people. But like most people go, I ain't doing that shit. Okay, I did it in Vietnam, not repeating it again. Secondly, like we might ought to start figuring out how we treat these veterans once they come back because we're treating them like shit. So outsourcing, what we need to do is decide we are going to make all our chips. We're going to make all our technology. We're going to make all our fuel. We're going to be capable of being self-sufficient. And then we're going to pick our allies to be a redundancy package, to be a redundancy program. Mexico, Canada, whoever our allies are, cool, dude. You're going to get a small piece of our production and manufacturing, and they'll probably do the same thing for us. See, because they're going to want redundancy. England's going to want redundancy for certain things. So I'm really okay not having to pay a little extra today for my security tomorrow, knowing that nobody can pull the rug out from under me in 3 years once I'm really addicted to their cycle, the supply chain issues. We have now supply chain issues, dude. Okay, like if North Korea gets invaded or invades South Korea, I mean, like what happens? Okay, like we have max 72 hours of food in grocery stores. So 72 hours, dude. We're out. You're out of food. So I just think there's a lot of things in our supply chain that we have come to value short-term convenience for long-term security.
I did a deep dive on drones probably a year ago. 90% of our drones used by police are made in China. And then when the Ukraine stuff started happening, we were using Chinese drones to attack Russia. And China was selling the data from the drones we were using to the Russians. And yet we still have not corrected full course on that. So how's that for national security? Terrible.
Yeah.
Point number 6. The large
just back on number 5. Okay. By the way, all the arbitrage that happened in the last 20 years by going offshore to India, offshore to China or wherever, that all ends now. See, America now has the capacity to do this as cheaper than anyone because of technology. So the robocalls, the India position on outsourcing for administration, call centers, all that stuff, dude, that all goes AI.
Oh, call center. And I remember I told you my buddy, his assistant isn't the best, but a year from now, yeah, you're going to be able to tell AI, hey, can you call Gary for me and tell him this? Boom. It'll call you and give you
hey, we already know how hard it is to find humans that are great assistants.
Yeah.
So like, see, even what we have today, I think what we have today is quite capable of fixing 90% of what I have is a problem, because quite frankly, there's a lot of issues that humans bring to a guy like me that AI is not going to create.
Yeah.
Right? They don't send me 14 emails on the same topic, asking questions over and over. Well, when do you want to do it? Yes, I want to do it. Good. When do you want to do it? Oh, well, couldn't we cover this in one email? But instead I get 7 emails. It's not efficient, man. We're not being efficient with much of anything. I could see now, number 6, dude, I could see the guy cutting cap gains. I could see the guy getting crazy on cutting taxes.
So I would just, whether you know this or not, the no tax on tips. So large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips. Nevada hasn't gone for Republicans since 2004. Nevada's economy is all service. It's like over 80% service. And so the no tax on tips is a huge play to get the state of Nevada to go red, which is looking like it already will. So I found that very interesting when you see him doing the tax on tips, but it's also a good like blue collar service jobs play.
By the way, I would support this 1,000%. I think it's very cool. Like my tips to people would probably go up if there was no tax. This is very helpful. Okay. Like us getting 30% from some girl making 15 grand a year in tips. Come on, man. Let her keep the damn money. Okay. She worked for it.
Yeah.
Google or the government didn't take care of the drink. Anyway, just to me, it's
YouTube's taxing our tips. YouTube is literally taxing our tips, right? Like
with no choice, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not a voluntary thing.
Let's see, the number 7. And by the way, Gary, if we don't make it through all these, we can always come back another day.
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
Defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our fundamental freedom, including freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the freedom of the right to bear arms. So that's pretty simple, right? That just sounds like it's the Bill of Rights in the 7th talking point. Why do you think that even needs to be a point? Isn't that interesting that they have to point that out? Now, I don't know. I guess I know.
Well, maybe it's a setup for him. Like if I was going to take that further, if you could just go back to that thing.
What would you say?
If I took that, I would say that every school that gets $1 state or federal funding literally has a constitutional required space, a Bill of Rights space for schools. Okay. I mean, like, maybe we need to start rereading the Constitution every day or the Bill of Rights every day. Okay. Like, and go back to prayer every day. I think defending part of the Constitution is people have to understand it. I'll bet you I could do a survey and less than 5% of the survey could tell me what the Constitution says in an executive summary. I don't think I could do it. I think I've become ignorant as to what this country is about. So to me, this is an awesome opportunity for him to just confront, hey, we kind of lost our way. This is the Constitution we agreed to 200 years ago. Are we doing this today? This is our Bill of Rights. Now, the cool thing is, because of where we're headed technologically, I think this opens the door up to say, hey, maybe we need to look at the world through a digital lens, through a hyper efficient lens, through a commoditization lens, where all services and all products are going to be commoditized, man. Whether you like it or not, it's all happening right now because you're introducing all this transparency to the market, and you're introducing competition from different global structures, right? Different marketplaces. So technology is going to prevail. It will win, and it will sort out and seek out all the fake margins. Okay. All the areas where, like, not having freedom is costing us money. Not having choice is costing money. So the Constitution and the way we're doing business with each other, they're all interrelated. You can't unplug these. We need a free market that is not intervened with. That's to me what we need. And I don't think you can have a free market that's not intervened with when you have 7 different global players, all with a different agenda and a different survival path.
Gary, maybe we should do a video of you and I literally just reading the Constitution.
I wanted to do that with some senators and congressmen. They thought it was all boring. I think it would be an outstanding show, dude. Hey, we're reading the Constitution of the United States today, and we're going to go over each point. What the hell does this mean? It would be a great education for me, dude. If you did this in a proper school, I was never taught this in a school. I went to social sciences, but like, dude, it was so boring.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
It's kind of tragic how a bad teacher can kill your interest in something, especially if it's critical for your future.
But that's one of the reasons I'm doing all these spaces, man, because it's clear to me, like, I think I would have been a decent teacher. And I complain so much about education that I'm like, okay, quit just complaining. Okay, number eight. I think number 8 ought to be
this
one.
Is your favorite.
Number 1, dude.
Prevent World War III, restore peace in Europe and in the Middle East, and build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our entire country. Asterisk, all made in America, baby.
Yeah, I would label this as stop war across the planet, period. Stop war. I love this one. I think it should be number 1, number 2, number 30, number 22. We should just, like, who is going to keep me out of war? I am happy to pay my taxes, okay? I'm happy to pay my taxes for bridges, dams, new schools, not old schools, new schools. I would even be okay with you charging me a little bit more for my taxes, okay? But no war. If you take $1 to war, I might not pay any of the dollars. I might just leave. I might just, like, this is my message to the government. If you keep doing this, you're going to have a revolt, okay? You're going to fuck it up, seriously fuck it up. And you've already done a lot of damage to us, allowing a bunch of large competitors to come in. You're going to have a revolt, man. People are going to just get sick and tired of this shit. So I don't know. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure where this goes.
We've been at war, I think, since I've been born. We've been at war probably the majority of your life, Gary. Do you think that's true?
Yep. And the hilarious thing is they try to convince you we haven't been, dude. And we haven't been at war. I don't remember since Vietnam, dude, when we haven't been at war. Like, there's just a bunch of different engagements. I mean, when the Ukraine started, let's remember this, 12 hours prior to Ukraine happening, COVID was a thing. And then 1 minute, COVID became a non-thing. 12 hours later, Ukraine popped up. This is like a mid-afternoon soap opera, bro. They cancel one show and then they just light up the next one.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. But yeah, we were bombing Yugoslavia when I was 2 years old.
Syria,
it's crazy to think about.
Syria was dropping gas bombs on their own people. Now we're discovering, that wasn't really true. Let's see, George Bush and the weapons of mass destruction. 9/11, that shit show. ISIS, that shit show, right? You remember when they embargoed all the crude oil in ISIS, and ISIS was making $30 and $40 a barrel?
Yeah. Yep. Don't even get me started on ISIS, because there's a whole rabbit hole around where they even came from and how legitimate they were.
And number 9 ought to be, hey, just reorganize the entire regulatory. Like I don't. How do you end the weaponization of government against American people? I think you have to gut all regulatory bodies. Chevron deference was really a big thing. I think that's a big, big thing. But the regulatory bodies have not done their job.
Yeah.
Name
Chevron
one.
deference
Name
allows
one that's done their job. The FBI, CIA, DEA, IRS, FTC,
Good question.
SEC.
What is their job? What is their job? Is the CIA's job to funnel drugs into the U.S.? Because if that's their job, I would say they're doing a pretty good one, I guess. I don't know what some of these agencies' jobs are.
Yeah,
I don't think it's to protect us.
My point. You know, we when we look in the mirror at ourselves, we may not like what we see. Okay, if we take a really good look, and this just may be the role for Donald Trump, this may be why he showed up. Like, we just may need someone that is willing to really take a hard look at what we have been doing for 40 or 50 years. And we're not the great country that we've been pitching to the world. Okay, we have created as many problems as we've solved. And this is an opportunity for us to clean our shit up. We have to, because this is now, like, when you drive technology like this into the space, you do level the playing field. Like we're all our ships and those big weapons. I mean, at some point, it's not going to carry the weight that it once carried.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think that we've weaponized the U.S. really. So anyway, the regulatory body, the Chevron deference was really a good thing, but I think Trump's very aware that our regulatory body has become an enforcement arm for the Democrats. That's what it looks like. It's what it smells like, and I've been subject to it. It's not fun, and unless you have a shitload of money and credibility, like in a reputation, and you have an attitude, I'm going to fight this even if it doesn't make sense. I'm going to spend $7 million over $100,000 just to make a point. Most people just can't do that. I mean, so that's why most men are just walking away from these marriages, because they're like, hey, it's too expensive to fight for ownership of a child. See, there's so many things that we need to clean up. Like that's a rule that needs to get cleaned up across America. You get a divorce, dude, men and women have equal ownership of those children. That should be a red line in the sand. Like, nah, dude, we're doing 50-50 unless it is absolutely like a crazy story. The reason I bring this up, we would have less divorce lawyers involved if it was black and white. Right now, there's this little gray area, and they're like, nah, we're just going to argue about it. It's destroying these children, man. So the system is set up to be litigious.
Yeah.
It's set up for gray. We can't really have gray in a digital world. Like, we're becoming ultra transparent now. This is going to be really hard for America, dude. Being transparent, having quarterly earnings, there's so many constructs that are set up in America that will not do well in a transparent environment.
That's an interesting thought.
Dude, this number 10, it's a very big deal.
Stop the migrant crime epidemic, demolish the foreign drug cartels, crush gang violence, and lock up violent offenders. That is the third talking point, and that means about 33% of the top 10 talking points have to do with immigration, which is very interesting. I wonder if someone will actually use the military against these drug cartels, because that's always talked about, but it never happens.
I think you're using the military to support you're either going to support the drug cartels or you're going to fight them. But you're not going to be able to sit there and go, well, gosh, I didn't notice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I think if you just keep it simple, Sam, right? Hey, is our military doing a good job against the drug cartels? Oh, yeah, they're scoring an F. This is just what we should ask every politician. Give that group a score. A, B, C, D, or F. Oh, it's an F? Well, why don't we replace them, dude? How can you keep the same people in charge if you scored them an F? Like, how do you continue to give $80 billion to the federal government for education when Congress people are saying, hey, our education policy is an F? Not the policy, the actual application, the net results is an F. And we're going to spend another $80 billion next year. In fact, we're going to spend $84 billion because there's inflation, right? But we know it's an F. So we're literally funding a loser over and over and over again.
Funding a loser. That doesn't sound too great.
We're funding a loser, dude. Like,
we fund a lot of losers, don't we?
I think you do, yeah. I mean, look, here, number 11, this is a multi-trillion dollars needed. Okay? Dams, bridges, cities, technology, telephone poles need to be removed. We need power grid backup. I mean, we have so many ignorant people about how weak our power grid is. It's ridiculous thinking it's so strong. It's so subject to exposure. Our hospitals, dude, our airports are like a fucking third world nation. Yeah, you know why Tampa is number 2 airport in the United States? Because 1, it's a great airport. 2, all the other airports are shit. Okay, they were built 40, 50 years ago. Anything that was built 30 years ago, dude, it's in need of restoration or complete rehab.
How does that happen in just 30 years?
You haven't supported anything. By the way, all of this is built for 30 years. Dams and bridges have a lifespan of 30 years, dude. We're in the year 50. People forget. When you have a country, let's take Rome. Rome, Italy today. Do you know how expensive it is to take care of all those artifacts, dude? So just because the civilization collapses, all that infrastructure still needs to be taken care of. And the older it gets, the more decay you have, and therefore the more maintenance you have. You know, if I own an airplane, every year for a month, every 2 years, I have to give the airplane to somebody for a month or two, dude. I can't even use it. And I have to spend, a chunk of money. It's forced on me. I have to spend a chunk of money getting the plane all inspected and checked up and everything fixed, corrosion, blah, blah, blah. When was the last time we did that on a dam, dude? Don't do it once every decade, or a bridge. All of this shit falls down at the same time, dude. It was all built at the same time. So think of California. All that money went to California. You built a monster amount of infrastructure. 20, 30, 40 years go by. You stop taking care of it. Oops. Like, you see the amount of people at my house, dude. Why do I have so many people in my house? You got to take care of this shit, dude. Especially if you live on the water, or it will decay rapidly. It's already decaying. So I having all this stuff, people forget you have to take care of it. But think of the rancher in 1800s who bought 1 million acres in Wyoming. Guess whose family doesn't own those 1 million acres now? His lineage of 100 years no longer owns that. They can't afford to take care of it, dude. So he has to sell it to another guy that has better money, better ability to take care of it. That's why you don't inherited land. The families usually lose that land because they can't afford to take care of it. And that's where America is right now. It's got, 52 countries, 52 states that need investment.
I just think of the high-speed rail California was supposed to build. And I think it's 10, 20 years later, millions, maybe even a billion, over billions of dollars invested. And still there's nothing. Still they haven't built anything but pylons. Whereas here in Florida, we have a high-speed rail and it took us like 5 years from start to finish. Shows you what leadership, even on a local level, can do. Strengthen, number 12, strengthen and modernize our military, making it without question the strongest and most powerful in the world.
Okay. That it's not like, for me, I think
It's a pretty basic one, you think?
well, look, this is a hard one, man, because I think that we probably our military is already pretty big. I think it would be, I don't know, 12. Anyway, I don't really have a big comment on 12. I think all our relationships are going to be challenged.
I think the word missing in 12, instead of strengthening and modernizing, it should say efficient. We should have the most efficient military in the world, because it doesn't mean it needs to be big. It just needs to be efficient. And that's what I think we're bad at. We're not good at efficiency.
No, we're definitely not. And we're in 186 countries. Okay. Like I would make this statement. Hey, we're withdrawn from half these countries. Okay. We have no business being there. Can't run it well, dude. Come on. There's nobody on the planet that has 186 different divisions and they do them all well. What is the United States core function? What is my core job? And stay in the damn lane. I think this is his list, right?
Yeah.
To me, number 12 is, hey, we can't have people just walking in our country with anything they want, bad, good, or indifferent. This is all wrapped into immigration also. And I think we ought to just have a military capable of taking care of Americans, and the rest of the world just needs to sort it out themselves. That line needs to be rewritten, because it's a little like, hey, we need to be the most powerful everywhere. Why? I don't need boats all over the place, man. We need to get our shit together, dude. We're in too much stuff right now, in my opinion. Keep the U.S. dollar's world's reserve currency. Cool. That's a good goal for him. I have
you think
a solution.
It's possible?
Oh yeah, and Bitcoin plays a big role in making that possible, and I would love to help him on that. Fight for the protect Social Security and Medicare with no cuts, including well, that's just a lie. That's just not possible.
That's just marketing.
That's just you can't do it. Like something's got to give. You can't have the biggest military in the world and then also be able to do all the Social Security, and pay the interest. Now, if you want to take that $38 trillion and say, hey, we no longer have that note, or we're going to extend it out for 500 years, cool. I'm not even sure you could pay the $38 trillion back if you extended it for 500 years. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, just keep in mind, I know you know this, but this is also a marketing document, right?
Yeah.
So this is anyone who's on Social Security and Medicare. He's saying, hey, you guys need to vote for me.
Yeah.
Cancel. 15 is interesting. Cancel the electric vehicle mandate and cut costly and burdensome regulations. It's interesting that he focuses on the electric vehicle mandate.
Well, it's the mandate. I think it's the mandate piece. See, I wouldn't have a mandate. I would be like, hey, let the market work. The mandate piece is wrong. Okay, the mandate basically says, hey, we're going to have electric vehicles, whether they make sense or not. That's stupid, dude. So,
cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, radical gender ideology, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children.
100% agree. I would spend if Mr. Trump has any need for me whatsoever in this area, I think you need an outsider in education. I would spend 4 years of my life working for the Trump administration just to fix this one thing, dude. And literally,
if you were the head of the Department
you cut
of
it tomorrow
Education,
morning.
yeah, if you were head of the Department of Education, would you just immediately just gut the whole thing?
Well, I'd probably, go understand what it is they are doing first. Wouldn't change anything. And then I'd measure the results. If you can't measure the results, you gut it, dude. But you come up with you approach it very logically. Hey, let's see the results. What was your goal? Oh, wow, there's $80 billion of waste. Or, hey, look, we're going to open this up to some other players. Since we're grading you and we're giving you a D-, we're going to open up competition. And we're going to make you more transparent this year. You're going to have to report like other public businesses do. Like report. How many people do you have? What did they do? How many hours did they work? What did they achieve? Oh, you're fired. Bye. See you later. Most certainly, every one of these organizations are bloated. If I'm Trump, I do the Social Security odd even thing. I cut. Hey, odds are even. I'm cutting half, dude. I would cut half of everything, like literally on day one. Bye. See you later. Go into a 6-month options payment program for the people you cut. And if you find you cut some people that were really vital, you get to pull them back in. And you're given three months to a year to figure out, okay, the half of the people that I have here, how many of them are animals and can really bone up? I can even afford to pay them more money now, because they're actually carrying the weight of the company. Get rid of the naysayers and the guys that are blocking. It will become very clear once you cut half the people out, who the blockers and who the supporters are. You then kill those blockers for non-performance, and you bring in the people that got cut in the first wave that you have options on. And everybody else is just like, hey, sorry, man, let's go find a job if you're so talented. But it's not going to be in the U.S. government.
Righto.
If you don't do this, we're just jacking off, okay? This is not going to go anywhere. You have to come in here very aggressively and realize 30 or 40 years of bloat. I don't need to accuse Biden or Clinton or Obama or Bush or Reagan. Dude, it's all of them, okay? We got lazy. We stopped paying attention. And now all these little details, they're billions and billions of dollars. And there's thousands of people working in divisions that don't have any business there, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I view it as a way, by the way. I view a lot of these federal jobs, they're just paying their friends.
Well,
it's just a way to pay their friends.
75% of the employment roll last month was made up of government. 75%, dude.
That's so crazy.
I have so many friends calling me going, hey, man, I can't find a job. Yeah,
go work for the government.
The labor market's so tight.
Yeah. Really. Can't find a job, go work for the government. They'll create one for you.
Number 17 should be basically, hey, men are men and women are women. Okay, like, I want to keep women out of men's sports too, okay? Like, I don't want to... Anyway, I don't even know how this is... How did this country... I guarantee you that this is not on Russia's list, dude.
No.
This is embarrassing, okay? It's embarrassing that this is even on a fucking list.
I don't know how many nations would have that on their list.
No,
18, deport.
Dude, no nation's going to have this on their list because it's a stupid issue.
Deport pro-Hamas radicals and make our college campuses safe and patriotic again.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
I mean, you're gonna have to get rid of most of the academia.
most, if not all, 95%.
I totally agree with this. Yeah. Okay.
Secure our
I
elections.
don't know why can't we have cameras in every voting booth, every voting hall? You got them everywhere else. Can't have some cameras? Oh, what, dude? This is so stupid. Same day voting, voter identification, paper ballots, proof of citizenship. That's the only people that should vote. You know, if I walk into a grocery store at Walgreens and I want to buy a pack of cigarettes, dude, I got to show a license. I have to show a license. Do I look like I'm 18? Right?
I don't think so.
But I have to show a license. So why?
Yeah.
Dude, I cannot believe you don't think I'm 18. I don't know why this is an issue that someone challenges that they'd have to show a legal binding residence in a county that would allow you to vote. I'm stunned at that, dude. Okay, when I walk into the bank and deposit some money, they ask me for my fucking license. Depositing money, not withdrawing, depositing. So I'm putting a ballot into the bank and they ask me for a license. Okay, policeman stops me on the side of the road. He doesn't, hey, let me see your license.
Common sense. Not so common, I guess. Number 20, and then we'll get to crypto. Unite our country by bringing it to new and record levels of success. That's pretty, it's pretty general and heartfelt, I guess. Optimistic.
Yeah, the way we do that, if I was advising him, the way we do that is we get rid of the Democratic Party and we get rid of the Republican Party. And until we do that, we're going to be bifurcated and polarized.
So this is where crypto comes into play on his official platform. Chapter 3, build the greatest economy in history. Our commitment. Number 1, cut regulations. 2, make Trump tax cuts permanent and no tax on tips. 3, fair and reciprocal trade deals. 4, reliable and abundant low-cost energy. 5, champion innovation. And under champion innovation, we have Republicans will pave the way for future economic greatness by leading the world in emerging industries. Crypto is number 1. He says Republicans will end Democrats' unlawful and un-American crypto crackdown and oppose the creation of a central bank digital currency. We will defend the right to mine Bitcoin and ensure every American has the right to self-custody of their digital assets and transact free from government surveillance and control. You think that's the right message?
Yeah. I think it's a beautiful message. It's very clear. And Trump added, hey, he wanted to make it clear, hey, I still support the US dollar. See, I actually think that was a really, well, one, he's probably telling CIA, hey, I'm not doing a Saddam. I'm not saying I'm going to, replace the US dollar. But I think him bringing up, hey, look, I still support the US dollar is his way of saying, look, I'm going to support innovation, but by no means do I think that it would be good for the US not to be in control of world currency if it can be. He believes in one centralized currency. I actually agree with him from our perspective. So I like that he added that he wasn't just doing a Biden, which is, oh, we're going to support the crypto industry, whatever, right? He was like, hey, we're going to support the crypto industry, but I'm not crazy. I'm not interested in using Bitcoin to then displace the Fed and then take over all decentralized banking. He's being pragmatic as his approach. But I think that he brought in, he will have a big walk away, bro, if he walks away from self-custody. If he walks away from mining, right? Like he really kind of committed.
Oh, he's all in. Yeah, you can't just step back now.
No. And I think it's articulate without him having a tremendous amount of details on the subject matter. It was articulate, and I'm very surprised that Biden and Kennedy have not taken that same simple pathway, right? Because this is the right message. Hey, we're going to support technology innovation. America, this is where America will lead this, dude. America will continue to lead the AI digital innovation pathway. And that includes crypto. Like, I like that as a message. Doesn't mean we're the only leader. Just means we will lead the innovation pathway. He should be supporting this stuff. And he will, actually. I'm not zero doubt that he won't support a $10 or $15 trillion expanding industry. There's jobs here. As long as we have a door, this is why I did what I did with Porter last night, because Dennis and that team, like, we now have a door inside all these politicians. They want to be educated. So for us to be able to bring the Trump and that whole administration up to speed with 21st century opportunities, that's going to be cool, man. But we have to have a door, a pathway to them, right? We have to have a relationship. You don't build a relationship in one day. So I'm really excited about us being able to farm, shape, and develop how this rolls out on a global scale.
If you were to give a rating to the document we just read from A+ to F-, what would you rate it?
Well, if I compare it to what else I've seen from everyone else, an A+. I've yet to see any 5 bullets, 10 bullets, 30 bullets from anyone. So finally, we're getting into, hey, what are you going to do for me? Not how was your golf game 2 years ago, and who can beat each other? I mean, can we get to the subject matter of what the fuck you people are going to do to, like, get us back on track? We are losing. Like, just ask yourself, Sam, start asking everybody you talk to, how would you rate our infrastructure, A, B, C, D, F? We just go back to simplicity. Is it a C? Is it a B? Is it an A? Is it an F? Why are we continuing to award and re-award D's, C's, and F's? Why? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't get it, man. We just need to be honest at this point. Some of this is because we have two parties, okay? The two parties need to go away, for sure. We will solve nothing. Okay, it would be like trying to run IBM with me and my ex-wife. We've just decided they're wrong. Each person, and you agree on nothing. You have to have a board, dude. You have to have a tiebreaker. So I think the red and the blue have to, I mean, I think they both, I was just invited to go to the RNC again by Benny. I'm like, Benny, I don't know if I can support it, dude. Like I think these committees are creating problems. They're most certainly not creating transparency. I mean, if I pay enough money, I can get access. Okay, maybe that's the way it always is, but is that really going to be the way we're going to build this future transparent world? I don't think these two constructs live together. Gary gets a special deal because he's got money. That's what's been happening. So I think we'll get there. I mean, the cool thing is the further you fall off the rails, the closer you are to confronting that you're getting ready to go into the ditch and have to fix something.
Yeah.
So what else, man? What do you think any of this is crazy? My response, or do you have a contradiction or different viewpoint?
Yeah, I mean, my take on the two-party system is different than most people's, and how I view some of that. But that's, I think, a conversation for another day. You want to go through some of the comments before we hop off, because it's 1:05. I want to stick to about an hour.
Sure.
A lot of people, by the way, really interesting comments. A lot of them kind of course, were going bit by bit as we were going through each point. Chipman says Biden fired 0 people. I think that's actually, now that I think about it, I don't remember Biden firing anybody. Whereas Trump fired people all the time. What do you think that tells you about their leadership?
If you don't fire anybody, look, I just think it goes back to give the Biden administration a grade, A, B, C, D, F. If it's a C or below and no one was fired, you don't have a management team. You have an employer. That's all. They just add people, dude. So there's no metrics. None. There are no metrics. To the greatest, largest financial and military organization the world has ever seen, there is no transparency. There's no audits. It is not being run like a business. It's being run like a key club with an unlimited amount of fucking funding that it can drag on. So I know one thing about human beings, dude. If you let human beings cut corners and cheat, they will never do anything honestly. So sooner or later, you got to clean this mess up. I do not believe the people that are responsible for creating this mess, and that includes the people that stay in the system and they know it's broken, but they refuse to say anything about it. You are most of the problem, actually, because being complicit by being quiet is how we got here, dude. Okay? Like, being complicit is how we all got here, and we've all been complicit. I think we all have some responsibility in this shit show that we're in, because we all went quiet, man. And then COVID popped up, and a few of us popped up and went, whoa, they've gone too far now. And now you're finding guys like me going, fuck it, I'm going to just be really open here. This is ridiculous now. And I'm hopefully that rubber band snapped during COVID, and a lot of people like me woke up. If it's a C, a D, or an F, you should be coming under a serious review. Every division, man. Just, Mr. Trump, just give me any division. I don't care what division it is, dude. I will improve the stats. The Department of Transportation, I don't care what it is, dude. There's no way you can't fix this. But you're going to have some people go in and, like, one, be willing not to be liked, and be willing to cut the shit out of this thing. I mean, really cut it. And I think that's why you have to go to some non-discriminatory process by, hey, we're cutting 30, 40, 50% of our people. Odds are even, man. I would hold the lottery, dude. January the, 8th or 10th. Yay, we did a lottery, man. Here's the number. Do it on Spaces. And the number for the United States retirement program is heads or tails, heads or tails, heads or tails. Poof. It's evens. Ooh.
I bet you that get a lot of views.
Dude, people would be freaking out, right? But it is the right way to do it. I mean, there's been massive studies done on this. This is how you fix something really quick, is get rid of half people. I mean, Elon got rid of 75% of the people after he paid $44 billion, dude. Guess what? X is still working. It's amazing that they were able to get rid of 75%, dude. I had some of my tech friends screaming at me going, Elon's an idiot. Nobody can do that. And I'm like, bro, it looks like it's working fine. And it is working fine. I mean, it's working as good or better than it was with 3 to 4 times the amount of people.
Yeah. Less censorship, less people, less censorship.
Yeah.
We got one last question.
And by the way, that's the other one that I would have added to this list, and it would have been number 1 or 2. No censorship.
No censorship.
The right to
our last question is going to be from
hear and say whatever I want to say. Sorry.
No, you're good. Gorilla Time, he gave us 2.49 euros. So we're going to end out with his question. He wants to know, Gary, do you own any Nvidia?
You're giving me acid reflux here. I own Nvidia at $70, and I had to sell it because I got margin called on my Bitcoin. So I do not hold Nvidia. I have taken a massive loss in not owning Nvidia. And if I'm really honest with you, it doesn't bother me in the least. I've missed so many of these deals before, but I had a margin call, decided to keep Bitcoin over Nvidia. We'll see if that proves out to be the right move. In the short run, it doesn't seem to be, but we will see. I'm pretty comfortable that Bitcoin is going to outperform Nvidia in the next 3 years.
All right. And we'll close.
But no, I don't. And I'm not sure right now I would buy it right now. It is a monopoly. It owns 82% of the space. It's got massive margins. It's already got an antitrust filing against it. If you like Nvidia and you like their technology monopoly play, I think Bitcoin is exactly that same type of play and 10 years younger. So it's just the way I look at things. It's too late for me to buy Nvidia here. Like, I don't need to do that, dude. Like, I can buy Bitcoin at $60,000. It's clear to me now, okay? Nobody's making any money on mining, dude. Buying Bitcoin's the right thing. This is the right thing. This be like buying $10 crude oil. $10 crude oil, and like, it never goes bad. Has no transport issues. Yeah, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, it is liquid. So, and Nvidia, by the way, on the Nvidia piece, I think a lot of Nvidia's earnings are coming from the crypto world, the digital asset world. So, hey, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for the super chats. If there's no other questions or comments, Chipman said Biden fired 0 people. Hey, just on one thing, we'll end on some gossip. You still with me, bud?
Yeah.
Sam? Is this stuff about Kamala being a prostitute? Is that real, dude?
So I've seen this multiple times, how she got her rise and claim to fame because she was the woman of whoever that famous California guy was. So prostitute, I don't know if that's the right word. She certainly had a cozy relationship with a very wealthy man in California who I think helped kickstart her political career. I'll put it that way.
Is that the guy that was like 30 years her senior?
I think so. Yeah, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. But
I don't know why they bring that up, the 30 years, but he's the black guy that admitted that he helped her career.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I thought it was pretty brazen, the prostitution word, but
that stuff like that cycles every year or two where it comes back up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's surprising to me how little we knew about the Obamas before they showed up, and now we don't know much about this lady. And if Trump gets in, could Kamala end up being a judge? Or they'd have to do that before?
They have to do it before, because if Trump gets in, you need the president and the Senate.
Yeah. See, I'm really scared of her being a judge. I think she is more dangerous being a judge than if she was the vice president or president.
I would agree with that.
Oh, you would, huh?
Yeah, I'd agree.
She's a nasty lady, dude.
Supreme Court is forever.
That's right. That's exactly right, dude. And this job's for 4 years.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay, pal. Well, we didn't talk about Bitcoin today. So, guys, just to let you know, we're not going to talk about Bitcoin in every space, okay? There is a point in time when we should not be talking about a $1,000 move on Bitcoin, okay? It's just not. It's going to get boring for me, and it's unnecessary. If you're investing in Bitcoin on a 4 to 10 year thesis, having a discussion every day on Bitcoin, you should actually hang up your earbuds and go back to work. I really hope people are not listening to this at work, that you're doing the best job you possibly can for the people that employ you, and maybe even more. That's really, really, really important message. But me talking about Bitcoin all the time and worrying about $1,000, it's going to be a great investment. It will look like Nvidia one day, but for me, it's much more important to also include topics like macro, economics, politics, energy. Energy is going to be very important. And most importantly is the politics and the war piece of this, because I am convinced my position on Bitcoin is really solid. The thesis is good. And the only thing that can go wrong is these idiots go to do some more war and escalate war. And that's not cool. So I would ask you to support us, what we're doing, and also support who you think will remove us from war and constantly flicking our fingers at people and upsetting them and making them our enemies. I'll end with that. Sam, thank you.
Well said. Thank you, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Ciao. You guys have a great day. Be nice to somebody.